On, welcome.
Thank you. You okay?
There you are. I'm really good, thank you. I don't think we've met before. I'm Dior.
Yeah, Yvonne, I work for a small PCO in the UK, so KC Jones Conference and Events.
Yeah, right. I think you've been on before. I think you recognise your face.
I'm not sure, is that a good thing or not?
No, it's a good thing. I just remember seeing you on a call. I didn't get to listen back to a recording, but I remembered seeing on a short video that Grant was doing something with a week or two ago, maybe three. I can't remember. It's good to see you anyway.
Yeah, I think so. Thank you.
I work for Kelly now. We, no, we just literally connected, Yvonne, and we were just chatting about airtime. We're about to chat about it anyway. We zoomed
Okay.
off down to sunny Melbourne last week. We all got to hang out.
Yes, it was actually decent weather. Melbourne has since decided that summer is not a thing, and we have had really gross weather for the first day of summer here in Australia. So, interesting.
Yeah, there you go. So we must have timed it perfectly. We got in, we get a bunch of
100%.
sunshine, and then we get out real quick.
Yeah, you brought it with you, apparently.
Yeah, right. Well, I try to please. That's all I can say. Well, welcome both. It's just ticked over the half past, so we can officially say we've started the session. And I'm not expecting a great volume of numbers, but it's wonderful to see you both. Grant sends his apologies. He's got some personal things he's taken care of, so I get to sit in the hot seat today and see where it takes us.
Cool.
I did take the liberty of inviting Catherine along today as our guest speaker.
Very funny.
She's like,
Morning.
what? Who is this guy? What's he talking about? Good to see you, Catherine. Where are you coming from?
I'm in Glasgow, Scotland.
Excellent.
How are you guys?
Really good. Really good.
Good.
I'm from tropical North Queensland, the pointy end of Queensland, up in
Oh,
Cairns.
nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
And Kelly's in the sunny parts of southern Victoria. She was just saying the weather's gone a little bit nasty
Hmm.
down her way. So what's the burning questions this week? Everyone's got with events air, all things events air. And did you all get to attend? I know Kelly did, but did you guys get to attend or see any of the airtime presentations
No,
over the last few weeks?
no, I haven't. Not yet.
I'm sure you'll see them. They've got a bunch of recordings, I think, across
Oh,
all the different events. So
they released them?
I'm not sure. I don't think they've come out just yet. I think they said it
Oh, okay.
might be end of this week, early next week.
Yeah, I saw 5th of December as their date.
Right.
Where
Oh,
would
there
we
you go.
find those? Once they're released, how do we get hold of them?
Well, I know if you registered online, they were going to make them available, I suspect, on the on-demand portal, but it'll
Mm.
also, I suspect, be comms going out from their team to
Are
all
they
the...
only accessible for the people who actually attended?
I'm not sure.
I would say so, yeah.
And
Yeah.
people who make friends of people who are
I was about
actually
to say
attending.
that's a an easy way to get around that, and I think there was some great content, so I'm sure they'll be really happy to get that shared with the broader users
Mm.
around the globe. So yeah, it was good. What do you think,
You had
Kelly?
that presentation, Dior?
I did get up and do one. We had a bit of a showcase and we had a limited amount of time, and I was presenting immediately after Sarah Allen, who had this mind-blowing presentation of these incredibly detailed processes that she's done. It's just awesome. It's slightly, confession, it did do my head in a little bit.
Um,
She's got it down to a fine art, the way she's manipulating some of the fields, and it works so well for her. So I jump up on stage, still slightly glazed over, and said, "Here we go. Let's change tack a little bit." And I gave a pretty brisk overview of some of the things that we're doing with the API through a case study that we did with her, a large symposium we did back in May 2004. So you'll see that recording as well. And if you've been to any of our previous Airheads, I think we've managed to successfully touch on a bunch of things that Grant and I specifically do with integrations with EA into different platforms, but also a new platform that he's working on, affectionately called Eva, which is an AI tool that we've just found a way of doing away with all the repetitive data entry tasks that we find ourselves sometimes doing. And was pleasantly surprised when we sat in at Airtime that Mehdi, who had some incredible presentations, is working on something very similar. So that's pretty exciting stuff. And so he and Grant spent what seemed hours talking through the various different ways they're approaching things. So that was really, really cool. Yeah. But I was going to throw to you, Kelly. What did you find as a takeaway?
I mean, as we all know, I'm Sarah's biggest fangirl. I'm
Yeah.
currently like trawling through her registration forms and being like, what can I pull from this to make it easier? Because I feel like every single event I overhaul my registration form, I haven't figured out the nicest way to do it. That's just why
Right.
I'm online at 8:30 p.m. My time, because I'm trying to get rid of the stupid circle things in the curved theme. You know, the little lines with the circles,
Right.
it's not letting me hide it. But in terms of airtime, I really like to see what events are doing in the AI space, and that Medi's very considered about the use of it, considering both those use cases where it's really high confidentiality, and then also kind of layman uses of just making things faster and moving a lot of that repetitive detail. The AV presentation by Qualcast, I think it
Yeah,
was.
Jared at Corecast. Yeah.
Fantastic. Really good. Because I thought I was decent at reading AV quotes. No.
Yeah.
There was
Right.
definitely some things that I was just like, oh, okay, I got to look out for that when I'm reading my quotes.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was really good. And yours,
Yeah.
of course, Dio, was fantastic.
Oh,
Very
you're too
interesting what
kind.
you and Grant are doing with the API.
Yeah. Sorry, my microphone's just dropped out there. It's back on now.
Yeah, you go.
Yeah, I think. Sorry, Mehdi was his stuff. You're right. He's measured, and I think that he's clearly motivated. Right. I can see that it's got his attention. But Paul the CEO, rightly mentioned that we're just going to focus on getting some things right. That they haven't deployed a lot of new things for a while, and they've been doing a lot of, I guess, the foundational back end fix up. And so it's exciting to see their roadmap going forward now. Some of the new tools and specifically the app updates that are coming through, well, they alluded to, and I think there was some stuff for Exhibitor Portal as well, which is well overdue. So that'll be
I
cool.
think my favorite, and I'm a stats person, my favorite stat that I saw was that 16.9 million lines of code, or billion lines of code, down to 7.6 billion lines of code. To For Yvonne and Catherine, that's what's supporting the build of Events Air. And they were telling us that's why um, updates and things like that were taking so long, because they would have to edit 16.9 billion lines of code to make that. And so the fact that they've been able to go back and rewrite it better and pull out a lot of defunct stuff, that makes it, they can deploy from 3 months to 2 weeks, which
Yeah, it's
is
pretty epic.
really good.
Absolutely. Catherine, can I ask you what your business is, or where you fit into the equation with the Eventsair users?
Yeah, so I'm at a university,
Yeah.
so I act as a sort of internal PCO for our academics, and basically do the odd website, but I'm hoping that will improve now that the new web builders come in. So websites, apps, registration, and then the biggest part is probably abstract management.
Yeah.
So I don't need to worry about travel accommodation. I do run digital exhibitions and exhibition portals, but like tiny scale. Don't collect payments for any of that, or sponsorship packages or anything like that. So that part of it's quite straightforward. But yeah, abstracts, co-presenter bios, all the stuff you guys talked about early on is just the biggest challenge, really,
That's
at
your
our side.
space.
Yeah.
The new website builder that the Events Air team spoke of definitely is far more user friendly, right? I haven't used it myself yet, but in terms of just the interface, that the being able to build it and actually see what you're building as you're going along is a game changer, and it's far more aligned with
modern.
Yeah, that's right. It's more aligned with most of the platforms that you'd be building websites with. So that was pretty cool, and appreciated. Yeah, right. The abstract stuff, that's going to be a big one. It was one of the main reasons we came to Events Air. We looked at a whole bunch of the competing platforms, and there's pros and cons with anything, right?
Yeah.
And we found that, and we still do to a larger degree, that the abstract portal ticked a lot of the boxes for the types of events that we do. And I think that it's been quite robust, right? Getting some of our end users to change their old ways, and particularly the reviewing side of things, that's taken a little longer than I probably thought. But in terms of setting up the site and using it, and I'm talking, I guess some of our clients might have several hundred, some are getting up to a couple of thousand abstracts, and it's being processed and managed really, really well. So it'll be interesting to see where they go in the future with the abstract portal. I'm not sure whether it needs just speaking personally, I don't think it needs a complete overhaul. I think it just needs to have some of the core features and functions modernised, make it a little more readily
I
available
think
for
we
some of the
always
users.
tend to have difficulties with symposia. I think I mentioned this
Yeah.
last time I attend. I mean, we do a lot of medical and scientific conferences, so a bit like Catherine, we have a lot of abstracts, and a number of those will put in symposia abstracts where you've got a lead submitter, if you like, but then that submission is made up of could be 4 or 5 mini submissions that all tie to the same title. And I don't know about you, Catherine, but we've not found a way of fudging the
Yeah.
current submission portal to be able to allow us to do that, and that has been a real sticking point for us, because then we've been creating other forms to collect the data, which then means you can't use the reviewer portal.
Right.
So you could have the same set of reviewers and they're reviewing symposia in one format, but then they're reviewing the individual abstracts on the reviewer portal. It makes us look a bit daft because there's no consistency
Yeah.
between the two. So we've been asking about that for a while, and it goes in I presume, a bucket, and it doesn't seem to be get any higher up. So we continue to do what we do.
A
I think,
manual.
Yeah, right.
yeah.
I remember at one point, Medi flashed up, and I can probably get hold of it for you, a QR code to join, I guess, a team of people that can start buying into some of the new dev and some of the, I guess, the specific requirements that us as end users need. And it sounds like something you should be on and
Is that
participating.
what's Aircrafters?
Yeah, yeah.
They
I,
haven't
I,
Yeah.
sent anything to aircrafters in a little while, though.
you haven't?
But Events Air hasn't.
Gotcha. Well, perhaps that's a sign, because I remember during one of his talks, he flashed it up there and said, "Get on board, let's start doing it." So that'll be interesting. You've probably already done that, right? And still waiting for some
Never,
results? No, you haven't? I'm going to send
I've
you
never heard of aircrafters, no. But I mean, I've sent so many like suggestions, or if I've logged a call with support and they're like, no, Events Air can't do that, and we'll send it on to development. It's like, I think they must copy and paste that sentence, because I've got so many emails from support saying, no, we can't do that, but we'll pass it on to development. And then I don't hear anything. I don't even know whether it's gone on a list anywhere or it's just been, nah, sidetracked.
That's Renee talked about that in Brussels, and that they're looking to what was the word? Like, create a platform where we'll all be able to see and upvote suggestions and all that kind of thing, and then see the roadmap, and then potentially see the roadmap change as and when things seem to take different priorities for people. So hopefully that's coming early next year,
Yeah, because
which will
I could
help
be
that
asking the same
visibility.
question or suggestion as many people, and if someone's already logged it, and I can tick like, and so it goes up the list of it, or they can see
Easy.
that, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we probably at times have all felt the same thing. You know, you're banging your head sometimes, or you feel like you're isolated and dealing with a problem that surely I can't be the only person having this problem. I tend to agree with you, but I remain hopeful that, you know, through the conversations I had last week, it all sounded very positive. Maybe they'll get this off the ground as well. I sound like I'm on their
And
payroll. I'm not.
yeah.
I'm not here to
Oh,
fight their cause, but I just left that week thinking, all right, there's some good stuff in the air.
yeah.
I can sense it all. So
As
there you
The other
go.
long as they
thing,
do, as long as it's not all talk and no action.
Yeah, yeah,
Sorry, Catherine, I didn't mean to interrupt.
no, not at all. The other thing they did talk about, Jace, obviously with the smart connectors and API, is the potential that that's what we can see with abstracts, and we can hook into Exordo or Oxford abstracts, and just plug into something that we know works in a way that we might need it to, which would be really, I think, a quicker solution
Yeah, but
and
on the
make less
flip side of
development.
that, there's a cost implication, isn't there? Because you've got to then pay
Yeah,
for
the
Oxford
settings.
Abstract. You'll have to pay for the connector. That's without a doubt,
Yeah,
because we've learnt that with Stripe and Zero and stuff. So there's two additional costs. Why can't they just develop it? They've
yeah.
already got a
yeah,
good, they've already got a good submission portal. It just needs some enhancement. So yeah, and it's like we've just done a cost exercise in regard to potentially moving away from events there because of all the. It's like, well, no, you've got to pay for this now,
The
and you've got to
creep.
pay for that
Yeah,
now, and yeah, we've got our own Stripe, but it was more cost effective for us to stay with Stripe and pay for the connector than it was to actually put all our transactions through Events AirPay. So yeah, but you have to pay for the privilege of that. So yeah, I'm just
yeah. You're not alone on some of those things. we we went down the road of the events air pay and ended up going back again, going it's not quite right fit for what we're doing, but there's an overhead, right? There's a cost to do it, so yeah.
Catherine, just while we were talking submissions, do you use the reviewer portal?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Have you found any way where you can reallocate all the submissions from one reviewer to another? So let's say, for example, Kelly's got a whole load of submissions to review, but for whatever reason, due to timescale, she can't do it, and we want to move them all over to myself. Have you found a way that you can actually do that? No. Okay. Just checking.
We're hopeful there.
Not
I
There you
think
go.
automatically.
There's another suggestion.
yeah, unless you just, so if it was literally all of Kelly's reviews all going to somebody new, just change Kelly's contact records and re-ping off. But that's not always going to work either.
No.
Yeah, and I think,
Okay, I'll keep it on my
yeah,
list.
yeah. Sorry.
I feel like the most annoying part is removing all of them, but
Yeah,
then you can reallocate to all fairly quickly with like just that one person.
because
So
it's making sure you don't deallocate something that might have a score against it.
yeah,
So you're going
and
cross-eyed over like three screens of, yeah,
never
Yeah.
fun. Dion's like, the API could do that.
No, I'm resisting the urge. I'm resisting the urge just to dive straight into that, but it's just one of those things. Like that's a very more common than we probably care to think about, right? It's quite reasonable that that's going to happen, and there's a ton
Yeah.
of pain involved.
Yeah.
I'm going to make some notes of that one.
it's I think I'm quite fortunate because I only work with colleagues out of my institution, so it's not like a one-off event and I'm not seeing people ever again further down the line. You build up quite good relationships and you can be quite strict and quite tough with people and
Right.
say, like, we need these people on board. We need a conversation with your reviewers. We need to do X, Y, Z before we even put them anywhere near the database
Yeah.
to try and make sure that buy-in is there and they understand the work involved and the deadlines they need to meet. And we say, if there's an issue with this, tell us now, and we'll take you out the reviewing panel, or we'll give you fewer to try and mitigate for that. Again, not perfect, but
Whereas we're the complete opposite. So the committee would give us a list of names who have volunteered or been volunteered to be a reviewer, and all we'll get is their name and their email address. So we'll send them an invite to review email, as we call it, with the deadlines on, the instructions, access to the portal. But we've had no correspondence. That correspondence has happened between the committee and that potential reviewer. So we are the complete opposite to yourself. And that email might sit there, and then we'll chase them and go, "Oh no, I can't manage that deadline." It's like, well, cheers for that. Like,
yeah.
so then we've got to find somebody else on the committee who has potentially done all their reviews and is happy to help out. And then that's when we go, right, so Kelly can't do them, but now we need to assign them all to Catherine. So it's those kind of, and it's not, it is quite, with the medical and scientific ones, it happens quite a lot because, like I say, we don't have that sort of background with them or relationship with them. It's, yeah.
Well, we only force our committees to do the review, so it ended up a bit onerous for the poor committee. 12 committee members and 600 abstracts this time. So, but they had the most buy-in, so
Yeah.
you got to do what you got to do.
Writing all this down feverishly.
You, Kelly, so I'm just trying to think for myself and Yvonne. So I'll import all the reviewers in, set everybody up, and then when I send out their invite, so I don't give them an auto login link because people don't read the sentence that says don't share or forward or whatever. So I make them log in. But I'm wondering if there's a better way where they can create their own password, or is the auto token a way that you do it?
I do it on the auto token login, yeah, and then I'll tend to put an expiry on it. So once the deadline's, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do auto login token, but I don't find that something like that is likely to be shared. It might be a bit different if they're like, "Oh, go look at this thing, what someone's doing internally," not thinking that it's a conflict or an issue to share it. Because it's all different organizations, all different things. So I work in-house in an association. So it's our members and non-members submitting to our conferences. So yeah, I would think maybe in a university that would be a different kettle of fish where people are like, "Oh, this is exciting. Look at what this person's submitting." Maybe. I'm thinking positively of their intentions.
Yeah. Slightly getting off answering any of the questions that you're wanting to resolve. But Kelly, remind me, did I hear correctly when you guys send out, you do a interactive site first to get the details, and then you only ever give them a token login and that's it? Is that...
That's what
I think
Sarah does.
Sarah was explaining. Yeah.
So
Oh, okay.
for her submissions, that's how she does it. So she'll
Right.
first do an interactive site that the submit action will send them the auto token login to submit. She was finding that people were skipping details and not putting organization or email or mobile
Right.
numbers in, and so you couldn't contact people.
And that was for the
Afterwards.
registration step, right? She did that prior to them registering.
Prior to them submitting their abstract. So,
Yeah.
and then she has two abstract portals, the original submission and then the accepting submission portal. So there's more information collected on that stage, which I think is really cool, and I have copied.
Well
Say
done.
that again. So she does like a basic interactive site, which is a pseudo registration site just to
Yeah.
get who they are, where they're from, and then they'll get a merge doc to say, now click here and go on and do your submission.
Yeah,
Okay.
correct. Yeah, to get a bit more information, that also means it's easier, I think, for them to contact. I haven't seemed to have any issues with that with the abstract portal, because I can't figure out how I've set it up that this happens, but they have to put contact details in and fill in that
Yeah, it's the
contact
same with
form
ours.
Yeah.
We've
before
got
it even
mandatory
appears.
fields, so yeah.
Yeah, but even before the submission option appears. So I'm not sure
Yeah,
why she
we're the
needs to do
same.
that, but it seems to work better for them.
I
But
wonder,
also, I mean, it gives them that auto token login so that they don't have to remember that password and set up a password and can just go back to that email every time, which would, bypass that stupid sign-in page that the forgot
yeah,
password never works.
yeah. The so when in my contact site, that's where I'll ask additional questions. Yvonne, are you in a mini symposia? Are you the lead? Are you a co-presenter? And then whatever marketing questions, just to try and help filter all that out. So I wonder if there's something we can look at. So you go to an interactive site first, and then you get your merge doc, and that might take you to different portals. But then I don't know. It still doesn't solve the whole problem,
Yeah.
but it
No,
just
but yeah.
I've always been a bit apprehensive. I started doing, I remember one year we had a requirement where abstracts had already been processed and done for the majority of the speakers. There were some VIPs and keynotes had been entered in by the client directly, so the speaker hadn't been in the system, right? They might even put in bios and some photos and all that sort of jazz on their behalf. And then fast forward some months after the review process is completed, I had this idea that if I created a second abstract portal and used and reworked all the fields to capture things like tell me a fun fact, and it had to be in there as opposed to being a custom field or against the contact, because we wanted to then resurface it on digital screens and in various other places around the place, as well as on a report that you guys might have seen that we do for our session briefs. And so we kind of arrived at the only way we can do it is by sticking to the presentation database. There's two separate databases. And I think I found that because I might have hidden some fields or repurposed some of them on the second portal, that it was if I'd put in my bio and I changed it and I put in my fun fact and then I hit save, because I'd hidden some fields and I hit saved, it deleted some of the previous information. And so I've always been apprehensive because I know it was there, right? I've exported it before, I've done a review on it, and then I go back and look going, hey, where's whatever the field might have been, because it's gone now, and I look at the portal and I couldn't pin it down exactly, but there's some correlation between those two portals and the way it was saving.
so you need to be
And
editing an existing presentation.
Yeah, so I guess all I'm really saying is proceed with caution when you're having those double abstract portals that you're using for different purposes, because of course if you change the theme to a different field, now you're going to write over it's going to change it, right?
Yeah, so all of that, because it's going back in and adding additional information to the already submitted things. So everything is locked. So that was what Sarah was saying. The theme is locked. The
Gotta lock it
keywords
off. Gotcha.
locked. Yeah, all that kind of stuff. So and that is, for lack of a better word, a real bitch of coding that you have to put into it. That locks that all from editing. And then the second portal has all, because you can then refresh all those additional questions. So you can ask additional questions and ask additional custom field stuff. So that's where that then comes in. It's all adds in that custom field additional questions tab rather than in um,
A repurposed
overriding,
existing field. Yeah.
yeah, or overriding any existing field.
I reckon that's where I went wrong, is I think I might have
Yeah,
repurposed an existing field, or didn't make it available, and therefore it said, oh, you haven't hit save on it the second time. I'll
yeah,
blank
very
it out.
possible.
Yeah. Hey, I'm on a roll. I've got another question you guys might to help me with. I'm finding that on occasions that I look at a list of speakers, and for whatever reason I can't see them in the mobile app or online. I go back with a presentation. So I go back into the attendee record. I can see the presentation after you do a bit of, detective work to work out exactly which the presenter was. And when I go to the authors tab, they're missing. So there's an attendee with a presentation that's been accepted,
That they've submitted.
that they've submitted, or I've keyed in. There's no hard and fast rule on that. And then they just stop appearing for whatever reason. And so when I look at the program, it says speaker number 3 in this session's not showing their name or any details. So I go back and I can see the other 2, so that must be Kelly. So I go and look at her file. I find that presentation. And when I look at the authors tab, their name's gone. There's nothing there. Or there might be a co-presenter or a co-author that's not presenting, but the primary presenter that had it ticked as speaking has disappeared. Has anyone seen that? I'm alone. All right.
Their record hasn't been, when they submit, does it create a contact record or is it just,
Well, in this example, they're already in the system and they're an invited speaker that I'm thinking of, and so there was nothing for them to submit. The
right, okay,
presentation was keyed in. They've not probably
yeah,
at this stage not had anything to do with interacting with the platform, but the system's dropped the presenter. Some on one or two occasions, the name was still there, but the ID was missing. And so to fix it, all I literally do is add the existing attendee again as the author, delete the one
Possible,
that's missing, and then it instantly
uh,
works.
any duplicate, like possibility of duplicate records or anything
No,
like that.
no, won't looked into
Or
that
just
deep.
in the classic when you click something and then it for some reason Avente just decides not to save or stop you from navigating away from that website that you just spent 20 minutes editing and then all of the
Yeah.
code you just did disappeared, which happened to me today. I'm not bitter about it at all.
Do you know, I don't think I'd rule that out necessarily entirely. That could be at play in some instances, but there's definitely been occasions where that wasn't even part of the equation. It's just
Mm.
simply gone missing. Do you know, the only reason that I find them is because we export them out through the API into our airport platform. I can
Mm.
quickly just show me all presentations and filter by presenter names, and it brings all the ones that are blank straight to the top. It's like, oh my gosh, there's 7 people that have dropped, and I go back in and look at all. And as I said, I can't work out specifically. It could be my double abstract thing. I don't know. But there's been recent examples where I don't think that's the case at all. And yeah, well, I haven't heard from support yet, but
Mhm.
don't want to
on
alarm
the
anyone.
list?
Mystery.
Don't want to alarm anyone. Keep an
No,
eye out for that one.
yeah, I'll be
I wonder
checking now.
if I've got any in there right now. I just did a large event in Sydney. I think we had 240. It wasn't that big, but presentations. No, they're all there. They're
That's
all there
good.
on this occasion, so that's good. Yeah, because of course the issue is you can't create a presentation without an author, right? Without a presenter. It's simply
Mm.
impossible. Manually entering them in. You can definitely do it if you do an import through the API, which obviously you wouldn't want to do. But
Technically, the way that Sarah and I do our abstract is we don't get all author details until we're at the presentation stage.
hmm,
So we just take like text fields of like acknowledge everyone involved in this. And then after they've been accepted or declined in whatever way they are, we go, okay, now tell us who's presenting, and their full names and their affiliations and stuff like that. So that's all just hidden on the first portal and then shows in the second one. So it means I mean for like my last conference with over 600 submissions, I had the create new contact created, but then someone would be like, oh, Dr. Dior Yarwood, but actually someone wrote it down as Professor Dior, so then I would get two contacts kind of thing, and just constantly. So this way, at least I'm only getting those presenting. I will hopefully disappear all my duplicates or a large proportion of them.
And that's on a second portal. So you're going into a portal to edit the original submission, and that's only when you open up the author affiliation section.
Yep, correct. So hidden in the first one, and then in the second one we've got that authors tab viewable.
Which is why you need all that through the interactive site at step one if you're not gathering the author in the portal.
Yeah,
the submitting author.
Well, because the submitting author, I get that from contact, because you can go in and you've got that contact interactive form, and so I get those details at that point, and then it allows them to submit. Because I get 4 tabs in the abstract portal, so I get that first contact. So they're like, this is the person that I'm going to email and tell about the event. So if this is not the person that someone else needs to submit. Because I also get a lot from big organizations when they get someone, they're like, oh, I'm the L&D coordinator, so I'm just submitting on behalf. And you're like, well, that's all great and well and good, but actually I need to talk to the authors.
Yeah.
That's all abstract before you've actually created a presentation, right?
Correct.
Yeah, my example that I'm referring to bypasses that abstract process entirely. They're invited speakers or a scientific program and their keynotes or whatever it might be, and so it's literally keyed in with a presentation, and that's the bit I'm saying you just can't create one without assigning it to an attendee. It doesn't. I don't think the functionality exists that I'm aware of to be able to do it any other way, so it sounds like a bug to me. All right. Add that to the list. Hey, Von. Does mine trump yours? No, I think yours trumps mine at the moment.
That ever-growing list.
Yeah. What else have we got, ladies?
I've got one about...
Sorry, go ahead.
I've got one about accommodation. So we do interactive forms for obviously our normal paying delegates. We do a separate one for anyone who's on the committee, complimentary. Is there any way that you guys know of being able to take an accommodation out of a sub-block but without creating a package? So I don't want to create a package because Catherine, for example, she's got complete complimentary, but she could have 2 nights accommodation, could have 1 night's accommodation. Obviously, in order to create a package to take it out of the sub-block, is there any way we can take rooms out of a sub-block without packages?
Yeah, I remember Fleur talking about this some months ago, and I hate to say it, but I think we hit a stumbling block on that as well. I'm not aware of any other way to do it. I don't think it exists. What are you currently doing?
Okay. At the moment, we put an alert on those registrations. So when the registration comes in, we'll check to see if they got 1 night, 2 nights, 3 nights, and then we'll tick the box. So we'll have to physically go into their accommodation record, tick the box to remove it from the sub-block we need it removing from.
No, it's a bloody good idea to resolve it.
You're welcome.
Proudly brought to you by...
Would group allocation portal or group allocation big one? That portal, I feel like, has the accommodation that you could allocate it to. And if it's specifically committees that you're working with, you might be able to do that there where you can go, okay, well, uh, Dior gets one night, I get 5 nights plus spa, Catherine also gets 5 nights plus spa, in the allocation. And then you can, from what I understand, then you can send them a link to go and fill out the rest of their details. I haven't used it personally. I'm changing to not group booking portal, so I think I'm going to trial that this year. Um, but yeah, group allocation, I think, because you can give them their registration type, functions, and accommodation. So you might be able to set that up in the back end and then go, okay, now you fill out the rest of the information.
Okay, I'll have a look at that. Thank you very much.
Can't guarantee it will work. Please don't come for me.
No, I'll give it a go.
I've had a little bit of experience with the group booking, but I didn't have accommodation in that particular one. I'm, I think you're heading in the right direction, Kelly.
Yeah, I
I
think
remember
that's what I
something about
remembered
that,
the
but it was a long time ago.
conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah, that Fleur said that one works the best. And I feel like that would work the best. When I went squizzing around, I was like, oh, this is good, but I don't need
Mm.
accommodation for mine because that's all their problem.
It's on
I'll
my
have a look
list.
into it and then, yeah.
It's on my list of on. I'll report back. I'll have a play with it too because I've got a couple of
Okay.
clients that could probably use that.
Mm. The other one that I've got on my list, which is a bugbear here, is around exhibition and sponsorship. So all our exhibition packs, it's exhibition and sponsorship to us. They're two of the same thing.
Yeah.
Why can't we just have an exhibition and sponsorship portal, not two separate ones? It causes so much. Because, like we'll do, for example, you can book a stand, but you can also sponsor the conference dinner. But you then have to go into two different places unless we
Mm.
fudge. I mean, the way we've done it and are doing it at the moment is we've set up like the conference dinner sponsorship as a stand, but with there is no stand. There's no physical space or anything to try and, yeah. So that's something else we'd like here is the exhibition and sponsorship portal to be one of the same.
Yeah. That one
I
I do
think,
know was. Sorry. Go ahead, Kelly.
yeah, I was gonna say, I think there was so many questions about that in the Ask Me Anything portion of airtime. We were like, please, for the love of goodness, just combine those.
I mean, and like if they do combine them, yes, we don't want sponsorship. We'll just untick that box. We don't want to see that bit, or it's no, it's just sponsorship. It's not yeah. So, and quite a lot of our sponsorship packages always include a stand, and but it depends what level of sponsorship you have, depends, but it also includes other items as well. So
Mm.
yeah, but it's good that other people are that it came up. That's good. That might be further up the list.
Yeah. There you go. I know
Well,
there's
the
exa-
only sorry, dear, you go.
I was just going to say, I know there's definitely occasions with my events where I might have a sponsor that's definitely not an exhibitor that is only sponsoring a function or a particular session, and so it works really well. The convenience of having it appear in the past in the app, if I remember correctly, their logo even appeared on the session. That seems to have stopped now in the new modern theme. You don't get to see the logo on the that particular function or session that they've marked as a sponsor, but it does
Mm.
mention them in there and it works well. And so I like it on those circumstances where that's all they're doing, but they're few and far between. Inevitably, it's one of the same thing. So
Mm.
I totally agree.
Yeah, I think
Those
there's definitely a place where
yeah,
there
those
is
those
just
gold and
exhibition
platinum
and then
sponsors and the like that have a lot more going on that you need to, and
yeah.
you're having to send them in two different areas is definitely not ideal. So yeah, sorry, Kelly, I cut you off.
All good. I was just gonna say, well, we only really saw the 6 month roadmap, so maybe
Yeah.
Q3, Q4.
Yeah, and I remember speaking to Jace over breakfast, and he said he's really nervous about sharing a roadmap because it changes so quickly depending on demand. I said, well, you got to commit to something somewhere. We need to know where we're going, otherwise we're not going anywhere. Is the unfortunate outcome of that. So I don't think you're ever going to see anything more than an ideal scenario 6 months in advance because it just moves
Mm.
too much for them. Yeah. They did mention they've got another team of people. What was that for?
Mobile.
Dedicated
So yeah,
specifically to start working on some of the new functionality for the mobile. So, which frees up their core team, I guess, to start looking at some of these other things we're talking about, right? Yeah.
yeah. So I think it sounds like it's like three people, but they're all devs in mobile applications.
Yeah.
And I think one of the really big thing they're looking at is accessibility, which is like for our sector amazing. Um, and I am looking forward to that. And also, they're going to hide that stupid freaking pop-up. That was that Renee that said that pop-up needs to go. That pop-up needs to sit in the background and just happen. We don't
Yeah.
need to tell people it refreshed. It just needs to refresh. And I was like,
Well, there was a time when we never had it, right? And from what I recall, it was only ever turned on because the end users thought the mobile had frozen, it was not responsive. In fact, it was just refreshing. On a large event, there's a lot of stuff to refresh. So by
mm,
seeing that pop up when they turned it on, I thought the intention was to at least let the end user know that something's happening. It's doing something. It's having a thing. But the unfortunate reality is no other app has a pop up like that I know of. That pops up 10, 15 times a day. And I'm not
mm,
sure I like the idea of, I mean, I'm about to say something that I actually don't do, but turning it onto manual is all well and good, but on a large event, I'm refreshing it that many times anyway with changes that are going on that you might as well just leave it on, right? To automatically refresh. I'm not sure smaller events I get away with it because I might only have to refresh once or twice throughout the day. But not a large scale symposium where there's just too many things happening and adjustments being made. So yeah, bring that on.
mm.
That'll be a significant improvement for all concerned. What else did we get out of that, Kelly, that we walked away with? The name badge thing. There was some. I went to a name badge session. Do you guys print your own badges? Oh, you don't feel my
Yeah.
pain then. No, well, on larger events we obviously had them pre-printed, but we're doing more and more stuff where we're using kiosks. And so I sat on a really cool session with Touchpoint that did the badges there, and they gave some cool tips and some good ideas with some of the formatting, and if nothing else, some great design ideas that I find our team we find a template or a design that works well, and you kind of, or two or three, and you kind of stick to it. To what works. And so it was nice to step out of your comfort zone and see some different designs going, all right, that's a
Mm.
cool idea. And some of the code that he's using to do some badges where you don't have to have multiple versions of the same badge, for whether it's the footer strip or the header. We've done some of the programming to change that to speaker or whatever it might be, but he took it next level, Daniel from Touchpoint, with some really cool codes that he shared with
Daniel,
us all. Sorry?
yeah. So Daniel is and Touchpoint are our badge registration partner. So I was like, I don't want to learn that one because I want Daniel to continue making my badges for me. So
Yeah, right.
I can feign ignorance, and hopefully my boss never watches this recording.
Do you know we only fell into doing badges partly because quick turnarounds were getting less and less lead time. So we found ourselves in a predicament where the client says, "Can't you just quickly print them off? I know you've got the printers." And so we did that, and then we started turning up on site with our small little portable printers, and of course you can smash out a printed, a pre-printed batch that you bring with you for 300-400 delegates, and then just print off ad hoc. Super easy and simple, and it just saved them an extra bit of effort that they normally have done with other suppliers. So, but we find ourselves now caught in doing these smaller ones and then the larger ones, and you put your toe in the water and you've either got to commit whole hog or not. So
Mm.
I'm not sure where that'll land, but my badge designs will improve if nothing else. Stay tuned on stay tuned on that front. There you go.
Talking of badges, we pre-print our badges, but
Yeah.
to date we've only been using the QR codes on the conference app for people to connect, and it's come up a couple of times in conferences where we've done it like annual conference for the same clients. Can we have the QR code on the badge? And we haven't explored it too much, but what's the easiest way of exporting that QR code from out of events there to then pre-print badges?
There's a little script that I can send you that, or a little program that we've had made up that works really, really well. We had it built and worked with Centium a little while back to get it done, just so we had the what was it for? We were doing functions. Oh, they were using, this client was using IMUS to put for their regos, and then we wanted to print out all the name badges with QR codes, so we'd do an import of all of their regos. Then I would run an export with the name badge field appended to that same export document. So it's not difficult, it's just a little bit of time consuming. And of course you had to make sure all the functions were keyed in as well in this particular instance, but name badge export for Yvonne.
Yeah, it's just literally so they can connect, like scan the QR code from the badge and just connect rather than going through the app. It's mainly sort of exhibitors, and we have always sort of gone down the line of pre-printing badges because we know we've got the badges, we're not going to end up with a massive queue of people waiting to be printed. So it's just sort of been, I don't know if proactive's the right word, or prepared or ready for. Yeah,
I think for the smaller events, we do the same, Yvonne. I think anywhere between those really small ones, anywhere from 100 to 300, we just bring them pre-printed, ready to go. It's got obviously the function, all the usual stuff on the back, the QR code on the front, and as I said, we take that little printer with us so we can spit them out with a QR code on site. It's just a little Epson mobile printer that we use. It works.
Yeah, we've got like just a little label printer at the moment that we use because the majority, obviously, we've had pre-printed, so it's only sort of very last-minute registrations that they were then just do on site. So yeah, but no, that would be really good. Thank you.
All right. Yeah, cool. I've made a note here. I'm going to send it over to you in an email. We took it another level. We ended up putting QR code scanners in our speaker support area, and so when delegates come in to check into speaker support, they can scan their same name badge or their phone, and it automatically finds them in our content management platform. It says, "Oh, welcome, come on in, go straight over to kiosk, whatever the kiosk is available, or meet with such and sit down," and it automatically opened up not just their profile but their presentation on the screen ready to go. So it just sped up the entire process. It gets a lot of good feedback, and we've streamlined it to the point where our gig just prior to airtime, we were in Sydney, and I think we normally would have done, I would say, maybe 3 or 4 speaker support staff with it managed to oversee it. We did it with 1, and I think there was just over 240 presentations, so it was super efficient, and clearly a significant cost saving, right? When you start whittling your tech support down per day by 2 or 3 personnel, that doesn't, it's not nothing. Yeah,
but then you add your API costs and the what's the product that you use, the Norwegian one?
It's a company called Slide Crew. I'll pop it in here for you. And in full disclosure, we have a commercial interest in it as well. So we kicked the tires on it maybe, I feel like a year ago. A year ago. About 4 or 5 years ago. And it wasn't quite fitting the bill for us. But about a year ago, they rolled out version 2, and Grant and I played a hand in really helping them look at some of the new features and functionality. And it's working now. It's doing really well. So we're enjoying that. But I'll just pop the URL in here, and you can check it out.
Yeah, because I think someone was like, "Oh, that actually might, save our bacon on site," and it would for me too. But money.
Well, all the pricing for that particular product's there, and it's certainly not dependent on Airport, although it makes it a whole bunch easier. You can actually set up a demo system as well for what it's worth, Kelly, and just have a play with it. at no expense to yourself, and you can import as well off an Excel or whatever you like to do.
Mm.
But as I said, it took a few years for us to get it to the point where we're happy with it. And after our Events Air abstract review, all that's finished, it comes over to Slide Crew, and all the uploads for not just our presentations, but all the e-posters, everything is done through Slide Crew, and then all the platforms that operate on site has interfaces and modules, so you can quite literally view the abstracts and posters within that same platform. So in the past, I've had to have yet another platform to be able to surface those posters properly and actually engage with the abstracts and so forth. So if you're into the digital e-poster world, it's definitely worth having a look at if it's the right fit for you. Yeah.
I wish I was into e-posters. It's not happening with my members. They're like, absolutely not.
Do you know, I did a show on the Gold Coast a few weeks ago, and it was like I was in a time warp. They had, I don't know, 100 of those poster boards, old school poster boards. And of course, I was absolutely beside myself saying, this is never going to work. What are you what are you doing? It goes against everything I stand for. I've got to say, because I had a bunch of students, right, on one of the particular mornings, the buzz in the room with 80 odd students next to their poster chatting to all of their colleagues and doctors and visitors and so forth. You don't quite get that with e-posters when you've got 3 or 4 digital. You just can't replicate that moment where they're standing proudly next to their huge big printed poster that they've brought along.
That's the debate that we have as well from an environmental standpoint.
Yeah.
And it's and there's the conversation over the paper waste versus the tech waste, the transport, the electricity, blah, blah, blah. So for 100 posters, how many e-poster stations would you run?
Mm-hmm.
Probably about 3.
And they just rotate, or they just have set time slots, or?
No, it's fully kiosk. So you can have them categorized, and you can sort of just, on the landing page, which you can have branded up and all the usual stuff, you can just scroll, or you can go select by discipline or sub-discipline, or search by a name or a poster number.
Right.
And then
How does that work for poster sessions? So quite a lot of our conferences will have like dedicated time in the program for poster sessions. And the last one that we just did, we had, I think it was 54 posters, and we had like a cheese and wine session. And
That's awesome.
all those posters were around the room, they were stood by them. So if that was a dedicated post session and you only had digital kiosks, you wouldn't get the same vibe at all.
No, I won't argue with on that point. Although what we have done is we had an event where we had 8, and it gets all scalable, right? I remember with the one in Adelaide we had 16 of them, and every second one was for the poster session, so the presenter would turn up, and so we purposely sort of staggered them a bit so there wasn't quite as much noise. Did it achieve what we wanted to? Yeah, it did. They certainly saved money, and they're just from a sheer scale trying to fit as many posters as that particular event had. Wouldn't have worked on the footprint of the available space. But
we've looked into like recycle. We're doing a conference in January, and we're actually doing the printing of the posters, and looking to that we can recycle them afterwards. So, Catherine, going back to your environmental question, like trying to make it as environmentally friendly as possible, and weighing up like a physical poster board against a digital one. And obviously we encourage all our poster presenters to send us a digital copy of their poster, and we put it on the app. So especially which is a lot easier for if we're doing poster prizes, and the judges can see the posters, and we keep the app open after conference as well, so people can go back and have a look. So actually, with them being on the app and a physical poster board, seems to work quite well, and we're not paying any extra for the digital poster because it's on the app that we've got rolled out anyway.
Already rolling. Yeah, I think there's definitely, I'm with you on that. We have it in the app as well. It just makes sense that they're going to upload it once. We may as well use it many times, right? To answer specifically answer your question, how do you?
Convinced.
Oh, you're still on the fence?
No, I am. in terms of if you did a proper carbon footprint of posters versus e-posters, I don't think digital would come out as better for the environment.
Right.
But we don't have data to tell us one way or the
No,
other. So,
no, I wouldn't pretend that I know the answer to that one because, of course, I own a bunch of screens and would argue the other side of that argument quite well. So,
but that's fine because you have that stock of those
yeah,
screens. So we're hiring or we're
yeah,
buying or we're transporting and all of that stuff.
yeah,
Whereas you can get poster boards in for £100,
yeah,
and
right.
we have a trusted partner who their warehouse is around the corner. So there's all sorts of variables in there.
Yeah, and as I said, up until that gig a few weeks ago on the Gold Coast, I would have argued till I was blue in the face and got quite grumpy at the
Yeah.
thought of doing anything but an e-poster, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when you're standing in there, it was for stem cell research, so slightly different demographic or audience than I'm used to, right? All scientists. It was awesome. It worked.
Yeah.
It worked. I'm still determined to show them e-posters, but I don't know if I'll win that fight with them because it just works for them, right?
Yeah.
But as I said, you've got to find the right fit for the right event and the right group. So
Yeah.
we've got a couple of clients that have always, for the last 5 or 6 years now, that I can recall, have been using them and using them very successfully. So the other thing that I do like about a lot of the platforms that I'm seeing getting around is, that 15 minutes for morning tea and afternoon tea, or you might even be lucky to get an hour for lunch. There's so much to do for the delegate, just to network, to go and oh, by the way, they're supposed to go and see all the sponsors and all the exhibitors and grab a cup of tea or a coffee and to check posters and all those. I think they're just time poor before they walk out the last session, right? It's really difficult. And there's a lot of stuff going on in a lot of these expo spaces that makes it really challenging. So the solution, I think, is definitely to have dedicated poster sessions, allocate some specific time for it. But I love the idea that as a lot of them have got a little QR code. So on this particular platform that we're using in SlideCrew, you can just not only rate the poster or give feedback or reach out if you choose to turn those features on, but you can click a little button and the QR code pops up. So you can grab a quick snap of it, but in a high quality res. So you can take it. Obviously, people are taking photos and running off and reading it, but doesn't always get the best result with the photography. So I do like the idea of sharing it in the app with the QR code or whatever it might be, so people can just grab it and share it on the run. So, what have you got there, Kelly?
I'm going slightly off topic, but we recently did as a team a workshop on neurodiversity in events, and the overrunning theme that came out of that is we should be doing things better for everybody, not just for specific classes or groups of people.
Yeah.
But a lot of what came up in that was how you build your agenda and what space you create for people, and don't have it starting in just after rush hours finishing. Make sure there's ample breaks.
Yeah.
Lots of time to move around, have downtime, have all that. So part of that is just your organisers having a sensible agenda. And enough time, and half our lunches is just a waste of time for people.
Yeah.
So building that in from the outset.
No, that's a good reminder. I haven't done a lot in that space, but we recently did one in September, just gone, and we had a space upstairs, and it never dawned on me. Of course, I come from a techie background, so for us, it's like the venue's got a beautiful big LED screen now. Of course, we're going to use that. Never struck me that some people actually find that quite confronting. It's very bright and they're not used to it in that space. And so it was a timely reminder. So we went upstairs and we dimmed down a couple of basic screens and we put, a range of different things in there to make that just an opportunity for people to get away from that downstairs environment where there was crammed with 400 people also sharing the event space. So
yeah,
I really
it's just
enjoyed
that
it.
reminder that accessibility isn't the physical side of your event, and all these other things, and you don't need a diagnosis or a label to sometimes need some quiet time or some time away and things like that. So we're going to hopefully start implementing a lot of the top tips that came out. It was good.
Yeah, right. I reckon I'd spend a whole session talking about that, because once we started diving into it, it was just you're right. It doesn't have to have signage at the front. You don't have to make this bold statement. It's not what it's about. But when we just on the tech side of it, when we started diving into that, whether it was the lighting or as I said, the vision that I just referred to, even the sound, just providing a few different options, it becomes really interesting, really inclusive. That's the whole point. So, yeah, good-o. All right, how are we tracking for time, everyone? Have I kept you entertained enough? Yvonne's given me a long list of homework to do, which I will follow. No, it's good. It's good.
Well, let Grant know that you did a good job and didn't press too many buttons.
Thank you for that. I appreciate it. I didn't let him down, is what I'm hearing you say.
100%. Alrighty.
Super.
I'm probably
Good to
going to
see
head
you.
out.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much.
Ciao.
Take care.